Today I will be reading Amelia Bedelia by Peggy Parish. Let's do a little author talk. The author, Miss Parish, was a third-grade teacher. She was born in South Carolina, and she taught school in Oklahoma, Kentucky, and New York. Miss Parish wrote this first Amelia Bedelia book in 1963. That's the year that I was born, so it was a while ago. Miss Parish wrote 11 books in this series, and then her nephew, Herman Parish, has written a series called Young Amelia Bedelia, which you also might enjoy. Let's talk about the main character in the story for a minute. Amelia Bedelia is a fun character. She's kind, loving, and she works very hard. However, she has a little problem. She follows directions exactly, word for word, which causes funny things to happen. You'll see the crazy things that happen in the story as I read it to you today. I hope you enjoy it. And so our story begins. "Oh, Amelia Bedelia, your first day of work, and I can't be here, but I made a list for you. You just do what the list says," said Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers got into the car with Mr. Rogers. They drove away. "My, what nice folks! I'm going to like working here," said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia went inside. "Such a grand house! These must be rich folks. But I must get to work. Here I stand just looking, and me with a whole list of things to do." Amelia Bedelia stood there a minute longer. "I think I'll make a surprise for them. I'll make lemon meringue pie. I do make good pies." So Amelia Bedelia went into the kitchen. She put a little of this and a pinch of that into a bowl. She mixed and she rolled. Is there any dessert or pie or cake that you like to make? Soon her pie was ready to go into the oven. "There," said Amelia Bedelia, "that's done. Now let's see what this list says." Amelia Bedelia read, "Change the towels in the green bathroom." Amelia Bedelia found the green bathroom. "Those towels are very nice. Why change them?" she thought. Then Amelia Bedelia remembered what Mrs. Rogers had said. She must do just what the list told her. "Well, all right," said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia got some scissors. She snipped a little here and a little there, and she changed those towels. Oh my goodness. I wonder what they'll look like after she changes them. "There," said Amelia Bedelia. She looked at her list again. "Dust the furniture." Did you ever hear tell of such a silly thing? At my house we undust the furniture, but each to his own way." Amelia took one last look at the bathroom. She saw a big box with the words "dusting powder" on it. What do you think Amelia Bedelia will do with that dusting powder? Let's see. "Well, look at that! A special powder to dust with!" exclaimed Amelia Bedelia. So Amelia Bedelia dusted the furniture. "That should be dusty enough. My, how nice it smells!" "Draw the drapes when the sun comes in," read Amelia Bedelia. She looked up. The sun was coming in. Amelia Bedelia looked at the list again. "Draw the drapes? That's what it says. I'm not much of a hand at drawing, but I will try." So drawing the drapes actually means to close them. Let's see what Amelia Bedelia does instead. What do you think will happen? So Amelia Bedelia sat right down and she drew those drapes. Oh my, she drew a picture of those drapes. Is that what you thought she would do? Amelia Bedelia marked off about the drapes. I love marking things off a list when I'm done. Now what? Put the lights out when you finish in the living room. Amelia Bedelia thought about this a minute. She switched off the lights, then she carefully unscrewed each bulb. What do you think Amelia Bedelia is going to do with the lights? Let's see. And Amelia Bedelia put the lights out. Can you look at the picture and see what she did? That's an old-fashioned clothesline, and those are clothespins. She's attached each bulb to part of the clothesline. Let's see what else she has to say. So, those things need to be aired out too? Just like pillows and babies? Oh, I do have a lot to learn. She's so silly. My pie! Exclaimed Amelia Bedelia. She hurried to the kitchen. Just right, she said. She took the pie out of the oven and put it on the table to cool. Then she looked at the list. Also, one other thing, did you notice that every time she goes from one room to the next, she carries something with her? Did you notice what it is? Yes, she carries her purse or her handbag with her. I was thinking that that's a lot like us taking our phone with us to different parts of the house when we walk around. Let's see what Amelia Bedelia does next. Measure 2 cups of rice. That's next, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia found 2 cups. She filled them with rice, and Amelia Bedelia measured that rice. Look, she has a measuring tape. She is still so silly. Amelia Bedelia laughed. These folks want me to do funny things. Then she poured the rice back into the container. Let's look at what's next on the list. The meat market will deliver a steak and a chicken. Please trim the fat before you put the steak in the icebox. Icebox is another word for a refrigerator. And please dress the chicken. When the meat arrived, Amelia Bedelia opened the bag. She looked at the steak for a long time. Yes, she said, that will do nicely. Amelia Bedelia got some lace and bits of ribbon, and Amelia Bedelia trimmed that fat before she put the steak in the icebox. How do you think Amelia Bedelia trimmed that fat? Let's see. Now I must dress the chicken. I wonder if she wants a he chicken or a she chicken, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia went right to work. Soon the chicken was finished. A little later in the story, we'll see what it means when Amelia Bedelia trimmed the steak and dressed the chicken. Amelia Bedelia heard the door open. The folks are back, she said. She rushed out to meet them. Amelia Bedelia, why are all the light bulbs outside? Asked Mr. Rogers. The list just said to put the lights out, said Amelia Bedelia. It didn't say to bring them back in. Oh, I do hope they didn't get aired out too long. Amelia Bedelia, the sun will fade the furniture. I asked you to draw the drapes, said Mrs. Rogers. I did, see, said Amelia Bedelia. She held up her picture. Then Mrs. Rogers saw the furniture. The furniture, she cried. Did I dust it well enough? Asked Amelia Bedelia. That's such nice dusting powder. Mr. Rogers went to wash his hands. "I say," he called, "these are very unusual towels." Mrs. Rogers dashed into the bathroom. "Oh, my best towels," she said. "Didn't I change them enough?" asked Amelia Bedelia. Mrs. Rogers went to the kitchen. "I'll cook dinner. Where is the rice I asked you to measure?" "I put it back in the container, but I remember it measured 4.5 inches," said Amelia Bedelia. "Was the meat delivered?" asked Mrs. Rogers. "Yes," said Amelia Bedelia. "I trimmed the fat just like you said. It does look nice." Mrs. Rogers rushed to the icebox. She opened it. "Lace! Ribbons! Oh dear," said Mrs. Rogers. Now, this might not be one you understand. Anytime you're sewing and you're told to trim a piece of fabric or a dress or maybe some curtains, it means to add decoration around it. And that's what Amelia Bedelia did to that steak. "The chicken? You dressed the chicken?" asked Mrs. Rogers. "Yes, and I found the nicest box to put him in," said Amelia Bedelia. "Box!" exclaimed Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers hurried over to the box. She lifted the lid. There lay the chicken, and he was just as dressed as he could be. Look at those cute green overalls and those green and red striped socks. Is that what Mrs. Rogers wanted Amelia Bedelia to do? No, dressing a chicken means to get it ready to cook. So washing it, cleaning out the inside, putting the spices on it, that's what she meant for Amelia Bedelia to do. Mrs. Rogers was angry. She was very angry. She opened her mouth. Mrs. Rogers meant to tell Amelia Bedelia she was fired. But before she could get the words out, Mr. Rogers put something in her mouth. It was so good, Mrs. Rogers forgot about being angry. "Lemon meringue pie!" she exclaimed. "I made it to surprise you," said Amelia Bedelia happily. So right then and there, Mr. and Mrs. Rogers decided that Amelia Bedelia must stay. And so she did. Mrs. Rogers learned to say, "Undust the furniture, unlight the lights, close the drapes," and things like that. Mr. Rogers didn't care if Amelia Bedelia trimmed all of his steaks with lace. All he cared about was having her there to make lemon meringue pie. So I hope you enjoyed our story today and you learned a little bit about idioms, words that are put together in different ways to have a different meaning. We use a lot of idioms in the South. Until next time, keep reading every single day. It will take you to many places near and far away. Bye-bye.